Hello guys, welcome back to another movie review, and today we're going to be looking at the second Lord of the Rings movie called The Two Towers. Now this one, I might forget a couple moments from this movie, but don't blame me, I haven't seen this movie in a while, so this is the best version I got, and it's on Blu-ray. Sadly, I don't have the 4K version yet. I do have the 4K version of Return of the King on digital though, so... But The Two Towers is a pretty good film. I've seen it many times, it's just I haven't seen it in a while now. But I'm going to talk about it now. So, Two Towers is a film that's unique for its visuals and battle sequences. Like, the Battle of Helm's Deep is probably the biggest moment of this film. But there are some moments that I really, really like from this movie. Now, okay, let's get started. So, The Two Towers is a film that starts off with one moment that the last movie did. Like, the most iconic moment of Fellowship of the Ring starts off the film. And it turns out it's just Frodo's nightmare, apparently, that he believes that Gandalf was fighting the Balrog from the last one and ended up in the water. Fought it until it ended up in water where they both ended up, I'm guessing, died. But either way, or dead. I don't know why I said died, but either way, the film does start off like that. We get to see Frodo, and he's seeing something in his head of Gandalf and the Balrog fighting, in which, at least that's what he thinks happened to Gandalf, and he's still worried about that, and he's still upset that Gandalf's gone. So then, as soon as he wakes up from the nightmare, Sam questions him and says that it's just, apparently he says that it's just a dream, and so then the movie continues. I know the extended version goes on to a scene where they are climbing down the mountains with Elven rope. Or Elvish rope, that's what it was. Elvish rope or something like that. Elven rope. Either way, it's one or the other, but they were using this rope and everything, and then Sam overreacts for dropping a thing of salt. It's a really weird scene where they're just like worried about the salt, but because all they think about is food. I mean, I always notice this in The Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the Rings, the hobbits only care about food, and in The Hobbit, there's so much smoking in it. There's so much smoking in The Hobbit. I love those movies no matter what, but just the one scene where Gandalf gives Radagast the pipe and says, "Oh, try this one," and then he's like smokes it and his eyes go cross-eyed. I cannot stop laughing, because then you're gonna see more smoking in those movies. I'm telling you, that's like the first time you know that this franchise is gonna be like a completely smokeless, well, not a smokeless one. This movie, the Hobbit movie is filled with so much smoke that it makes the movies cloudy themselves. I'm just gonna say that. That's the reason why some of the critics couldn't get through the clouds of smoke. Some critics hated the Hobbit movies just because of that. Some critics just hated them because they're not as good as The Lord of the Rings, in which that's why The Lord of the Rings is such great films. Honestly, I gotta say, The Two Towers is probably the weakest of the trilogy. I mean, I know that the next scene just shows them going across the mountains. There's some dialogue. They stop, they camp out, and then Gollum, from well, we don't see him in the last one. We see him this time, and he tries to steal the ring from Frodo after he sees it, and then Frodo threatens him after he basically takes Sam and puts him in a chokehold or something. He pretty much uses the sword and he threatens him, and in which Gollum is very, I don't know how to describe him. but he's like, when he's threatened, he like, I'm guessing he was actually deceiving him. I feel like the whole beginning of the second movie, he was just trying to deceive him. Because he is very deceptive little shit. Gollum is just, Gollum's an asshole. I just gotta say that. And they go further. They let him go because they're like, okay, you know the way to Mordor. Take us there. In which lets him go and everything. Then we're introduced to apparently Merry and Pippin are getting taken by the orcs at what happened at the last one when they were distracting them. They got taken by the orcs. I don't know if I mentioned that. I'm pretty sure I did though, because apparently when Boromir was getting shot, the orcs took Merry and Pippin, in which they left with them, and that's where this scene continues from the last one, and we get to see the orcs and everything. The orcs stop and they say that they smell man flesh, in which, who is a man in the franchise? Aragorn. So, what does that mean? The Great Three are nearby. Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli are following them, in which at the beginning of the last one, they decided to do that instead of following Frodo and Sam, which they save Merry and Pippin because they know that Sam and Frodo have a good chance to survive, and Merry and Pippin are hopeless. They are seriously hopeless, and Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli were their best bet. But they did make it off on their own, but it was a good thing that they followed them instead of the other ones, even though if Merry and Pippin were not at those woods at Fangorn Forest, they wouldn't have survived. They would not have survived the night. During that whole scene, which I'm going to get to that part, in which, of course, Merry, Pippin, and Gimli are following them, in which, actually, I think I am at that part, pretty much. So, the next scene involves them at the camp. Like, they're camping out for the night and everything, and, well, let's just say it does not go well when the orcs just decide to. Apparently, they're starving, and apparently they want Merry and Pippin. So, but then one of the orcs does a really bad decision, and they eat him, and then Merry and Pippin attempt to escape, in which they escape into the forest, but it's like shown later on that they did. They made it into the forest. They were followed by an orc. The orc got crushed by, apparently the trees are Ents, in which they crushed the orc, and the tree's name is Treebeard, in which he saves Merry and Pippin from the orcs, in which the orc is the only one. There was only one orc that followed them into the woods. I'm trying to remember this film. I mean, yeah, you're probably going to hear me trying to figure things out the whole time. Because this is probably going to be my worst movie review, because I don't remember shit from this movie. I should have rewatched this movie before I did this movie review. I should have been prepared, but I didn't. I'm trying to remember what I've seen in this movie. But yeah, after watching this, watch the movie. Tell me what I missed. If you get the chance, please. Better yet, I'm going to rewatch this one after I do this movie review. I'm going to tell you what I know, though. So, yeah. Either way, right after the Treebeard rescues them, he brings them to the White Wizard. And it's not Saruman, even though he's known as Saruman the White. Apparently, it's the reincarnation of Gandalf, in which he's Gandalf the White now. He's not Gandalf the Grey. So, Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli go into the woods, and they end up meeting Gandalf again. They're shocked about him being still alive, and he takes them to, I think, Helm's Deep, in which this is before the battle, and he takes them to Helm's Deep. No. It's he takes them to where the king is, in which they go in, they talk to the king. There's this weird rat guy that just like he's an asshole. He's a dickhead. I can't remember his name, but he's like he doesn't he wants he doesn't want any visitors pretty much, and he's like corrupting the king, except the king is being controlled by Saruman. Gandalf comes in. They don't take his staff because he persuades them not to by saying don't take an old man's cane, pretty much, and they pretty much let him in with the staff, and he uses the staff to apparently turn the king back to normal. He grabs the guy and he pretty much throws him on his ass, and boom, you're banished, pretty much. In which it reveals later on that he works with Saruman now. Well, actually, he already did, except he's no longer the rat in the king's castle. He's now the rat in the enemy's castle. So, well, in the enemy's tower, I should say, because there's 2 towers. That's the whole point of the movie. I mean, I always wonder what the fuck this picture shows, but I'm pretty sure that's Helm's Deep. I think... No. That's not Helm's Deep on the cover. That's the tower where the eye is. I can't believe I forgot that. Either way, the whole point of this movie, though, this movie is basically like an addition to the first film, and... Why the fuck did I just say that? Everybody knows it's the sequel. Why did I just say that? I don't know. My mind is completely twisted right now. I just went to go see Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and I thought it was pretty good. I actually did not care that it was about the critics' reviews. Honestly, I have to say, it was pretty damn good. I don't know if which one I like better. I mean, I love a lot of action, but I feel like that movie was pretty funny. It was pretty funny. It was very action-packed. So yeah, either way, Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers. Let's get back to that. So then, we are introduced to, apparently, Sam and Frodo continuing their journey ahead, in which they go through, like, marshland and everything, and Gollum tells him not to look at the water, in which he does. He falls into the water, and he is nearly dragged to the depths, in which Gollum saves him, in which they camp out later on in the night, which, honestly, I felt like Gollum just did that because he wanted to earn his trust. He didn't care that if he died or not. He wouldn't have cared if he died. Literally, he would have went on. Because he's the one that threatened him in the first place. Why would he care if he died? He just wanted to gain his trust. He was deceiving him the whole time. In which, honestly, I love the way that this movie is set up, though. It has a lot of, like, things that it's just you gotta focus on, like the behavior that he does, because this is all he just wants to get that ring, in which, yes, he did save him also because he has the ring. He wasn't just gonna let the ring go. That's probably the big reason. That's the biggest reason why he did not let him die, was because he has the ring. He would not let him die because he has the ring. Unless he had the ring, he'd let him die. He would not save him. And then Sam is trying to figure out where he is, and boom, he's dead. He's in the water. His body just floating in the water. Boom. That's probably what would have happened if it wasn't for him. But either way, they make it to they camp out for the night, in which Gollum talks to himself, in which apparently he has a split personality disorder, and he's like talking to himself about a plan and everything, and Sam catches him, in which every single time it's always Sam catching him, and Sam threatens him at first. Frodo defends him, in which Sam is actually the smart one in this whole franchise, pretty much. Frodo's an idiot. Frodo's clearly an idiot because, I mean, trust somebody you just met over somebody you've known for years, and you know that they made a pact to Gandalf. Seriously, he is an idiot. Honestly, I gotta say, Frodo's a dumbass. He gets killed several times, at least almost gets killed. I mean, he gets stabbed one time, he gets stabbed another time. The first time he got stabbed, he actually nearly died. And then the second time, he had that mithril shit. And then he gets encountered by Faramir, and he nearly dies because Faramir is... He would have killed him if you wouldn't have given him the correct answer, in which he gave him basically a response that let him live, but under his... Basically, he's... enslaves him, pretty much. And, he eventually lets him go, but either way. So... Fuck. Why? Either way, we get to see... Right after that, we do get to see, apparently, I don't know what's in between. I know there's a bunch of, like, filler scenes that are in between. I'm just gonna say the most important stuff. So, all the scenes in between, I'm just gonna forget all about. Alright, let's just get to the important shit. And leave all the filler scenes out of it. So, they make it to Mordor, in which they nearly get to the gate, in which apparently Gollum says there's another way in which it's shown in the third one, because this franchise is freaking long as hell. And if you put all these movies together, if you put the extended versions together, you get about 12 hours there. 12 to 13 hours. Because they're about 4 hours each. So, yeah. At least the extended cuts, they're the best versions. But either way, that's actually interesting. That's a good idea. Somebody should make a complete cut of the franchise. But only put in the important moments. Better yet, make a movie where it's just the journey of Frodo and Sam. And Gollum, if you want to. Yes, yeah, include him. Or make a version where you blur him out. You're just gonna see Frodo choking, and you're not gonna see what it is. It's just a black bar just covering the whole screen. Just, okay, this corner of the screen is gonna be black bars. You're not gonna be able to see Gollum. He no longer exists. Boom. Frodo choked on salt. He choked on the salt that Sam gave him. He put too much salt on his chicken. Either way, they make it to the gate. They say that, oh, you cannot go in. Gollum's just like, oh, they'll catch you and they'll kill you, pretty much. And then Sam falls down the hill. Frodo goes to save him. He uses the cloak to disguise themselves as supposedly a rock because of how small they are. So they didn't fall. They didn't. Well, they did fall for it, in which they thought it was a rock. Gollum did say that there's another way in which it's through Shelob's lair in the third one, but either way, they get encountered. How about this? I'm going to continue on Frodo and Sam's journey now, and then talk about the other stuff later on, alright? So, after that, they go further, and they go to, like, cook some food. Gollum shows himself off, pretty much. He thinks he's free of his alternate personality, in which he goes to hunt food for them, in which Sam gives a huge problem with him eating the stuff in front of Frodo, because it's pretty damn gross, and he's pretty much ripping the freaking rabbits apart in front of him. But either way, then he cooks them, and Gollum is just all grossed out from it. And then he pretty much... It's a pretty funny scene, honestly. And while they're arguing and stuff like that, Frodo wanders off, and he notices, like, these, like, different... Like, there's, like, an army, pretty much, next to them. Except it's not the army of orcs, though. Instead, it's the army of, I guess you could say, a resistance. led by Faramir, which Faramir encounters them. He tries to take the ring from them, and Sam defends Frodo, in which Frodo pretty much, they lock him in the place and everything, and they only catch Sam and Frodo. So they lock them up and everything, and then Faramir tells Frodo to come with him, and then they go to like the Forbidden Pool. I'm pretty sure it's called the Forbidden Pool, in which he goes to. He tells him that Gollum is in the pool, except he knows that there was another one, and he couldn't find him. And then as soon as they found him, he was in a pool that he shouldn't have been in, because anybody who goes into it will get killed. So Frodo tells him to get out of the pool, pretty much, and to follow him out, in which it was a trap set by Faramir, in which Faramir takes Gollum and tortures him, pretty much. And then Gollum reveals that he has the ring. This is before he knew he had the ring. He reveals it, and then Faramir goes over to see about if he did have the ring, in which he does. So then he tries to take it from him, and then he tells him that Sam reveals to him that he doesn't want the same thing to happen to his brother, because that's exactly what happened to Boromir, is that the ring deceived him, and he nearly killed Frodo. So, and he swore an oath to him. So what does Faramir do? He pretty much enslaves them. He brings them along with him to the city on the, like, very close to Minas Tirith. Pretty much, like, you go further and it's, like, right there. I don't know the name of the city. I forgot what it was. If I looked at the DVD's on my shelf right there. Why didn't I see that before? It's right here. I should have looked at the chapters. That was the strategy I used on the first one. I'm a fucking dumbass. Either way, fuck. Okay, yes. They go to the... Either way, they go to that city and everything, and it gets invaded. And at the same time, Merry and Pippin are coming up with a plan to pretty much go past Isengard. They're trying to get past Isengard, in which they have the idea to flood it, in which they break the dam and floods all of Isengard, in which it's revealed in the third one that Saruman is in the top of his tower, and he's just hiding pretty much. But either way, when they're in the town, that city and everything, once it gets invaded, Faramir sees Frodo's corruption, in which he lets them go on that journey and everything. So then just to get them out of there, and in which they continue on that path. Gollum deceives them, in which that's what the movie ends. But there's a lot of scenes in between that involves the Great Three, Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli, in which, either way, they follow the traces of Merry and Pippin. They go through the woods. They end up in the they make it into the City of the Kings, pretty much, and, well, that's Minas Tirith. But either way, you get the point that they go to the city of the King of Gondor, in which they uncorrupt the king, in which he gets rid of the rat. Then Gandalf finds out about that war is coming and everything, so then he gets the army out, pretty much, and they pretty much get going. I really should have watched this movie before I done this video. Either way, pretty much the king's son dies in the process because the rat sentences him to death, in which he has to... He didn't bury him, though. In which the king had to bury him, in which he had to bury his own son, in which it broke him completely, and then they head into battle, pretty much, and they are getting ready to go into battle, and halfway there... Well, actually, since, I think where they go, they get invaded, in which they go to escape the town and everything, and the city, and they try to make it to Helm's Deep, and halfway there, they send the families away from the area, and they go another route, in which they get attacked on that route, and Aragorn goes over a cliff, in which, since he has that thing around his neck, I'm pretty sure it's called the Even Star, but he has it, and he can't die, so he was in the water, and he got out of the water with the horse, pretty much. I'm surprised that the horse even survived that. The horse survived somehow. I mean, horse is pretty heavy, so it would pretty much go into the water. Anything heavy would go to the bottom, unless it's really deep water. I don't know how deep it is, but if it wasn't deep, that horse would have broken its legs. So, yeah. But either way, the horse somehow survived, and Aragorn gets away on it. He gets back. He gets to Helm's Deep, in which they're getting ready to go into war, because apparently Helm's Deep is going to get invaded by the end of the night, so... And they're getting prepared, because they know that that's going to happen. There's a bunch of families there, so it's going to be difficult, in which it is. They get there, and during the middle of the night, they get attacked, in which, they get invaded, pretty much, and there's a pretty badass scene involving all of the Great Three, in which Gimli asks Aragorn to toss him and not to tell Legolas, pretty much because he has a thing against elves. Apparently, it's kind of like racism in a way. Honestly, that's what it seems like. It seems like Gimli is racist against Legolas, because elves are a race, and so are dwarves, apparently, in this franchise. Dwarves are another race than elves. So basically, if you really think about it, he is racist. But he's everybody's favorite. He's everybody's favorite racist person. He really is. Everybody's favorite. Nobody can hate Gimli in any way possible. Gimli is the best. He's the best. And I liked the guy, John Rhys Davies, in Indiana Jones as well. He was great. I'm gonna do those movies in June. I'll do all of those in June. And conveniently, when I do the last one, it's gonna be on the day it comes out. It's probably gonna premiere the next day, because sometimes I don't make things on time. So, unless I film it ahead of time, no, I'm not gonna film it ahead of time. It comes out that very day. So, guaranteed that after I see the movie, it's probably gonna come out the next day. Either way, good thing I'm not doing an Ant-Man video right now, because that would be so crazy. Either way, so then, after they get attacked on the road, they're gone, and and then they get into Helm's Deep, then there's a battle and everything, and then the elf king, I think, of the forest where, I think, the forest where what's-her-name lives. I can't believe I forgot. Fuck. I can't believe I forgot her name. Oh, God. Come I forget that? The White Lady, come on. Where she lives, either way. The king where she lives dies in the battle, and, like I said, I should have been prepared. This is just ridiculous. I can't really even do this, but it's a battle. There's a bunch of people that die, but most of them are not even major characters. They're just soldiers, pretty much, and, none of the main characters die except for apparently the Elf King of that town. It's not the one from. It's not Hugo Weaving's character because he's that good of a character, right? Nah, he's a great character. It's just that the reason why he doesn't die is because he's involved with those movies, and plus he's supposed to be in the final one. Because why would they kill him off in the second one when he was in the third book? Why would you want to see him die? Hugo Weaving's great. He's just great. He's a great actor, honestly. He is a great actor. He's probably one of the best characters in the entire Lord of the Rings franchise. But either way. Okay, so the whole battle goes on and everything, and in which it goes into the next one. Honestly, I feel like this is going to be my shortest movie review because I can't really focus on everything. But either way, you get the point that there's a huge battle scene and everything, and then Gandalf and the Elf King arrives late because they weren't expecting the elves to show up, and which they did, and the whole elf army pretty much helps them out, and then the Elf King dies, and all this at Helm's Deep and everything, and then I'm pretty sure because Helm's Deep gets destroyed, they have to go to Minas Tirith, in which that's pretty much where the third one goes into. But I already told everybody what happened with Sam, Frodo, and Gollum, so there's that story. Gandalf, on the other hand, was there the whole time, except for when he got the others. So yeah, pretty much I think I covered the whole movie, at least the important points, everything. But Faramir does have a flashback in the extended cut showing Boromir and everything, and apparently Denethor, which was their father, has always hated Faramir, and he's loved Boromir because Boromir was the soldier and Faramir was pretty much the Joker, not the DC character. I'm just saying he was the Joker, right? He was the mischievous one. He was the one that always got into trouble, and Boromir was always the one that defended his father, brought him stuff. Pretty much, Boromir, if his father asked for something, Boromir would find a way to get it to him. In which that's why he loves Boromir the most, in which he was the most devastated when his son died. So, yeah. Either way, you get the whole point that the movie went on for a long time, and there's a good 30-minute battle scene. At least that's what it feels like. It feels like the battle scene goes on for like 30 minutes. It really does. I might be over-exaggerating it, but it feels like it goes on for 30 minutes. Either way, there's a good amount of time put into the battle scenes. There's more than one. There's one in that town. Now that I think about it, I think the town's called Osgiliath. Osgiliath. Something like that. Osgiliath, I think it's called. But either way, that town is invaded, I'm pretty sure in the third one. Well, it gets attacked in the second one. It gets invaded in the third one. Either way, I pretty much told the whole story, and I can't wait to do the third one. The third one I would probably know better than the second one, because the second one's the one I watched the least. I've seen the third one more than the second and the first one, so... Because the third one is a movie that I'll watch any day, right? And the third one, I'm going to make sure I rewatch it. I'm going to rewatch the third one. I love the third one. The third one's my third favorite movie of all time. No joke, no joke. I love the third one. The Return of the King is amazing. It's just everything perfect. Everything's perfect about the Return of the King. There's nothing bad in that movie whatsoever. Never hated that movie. I gotta say, that movie's one of the greatest movies I've ever made. I gotta say, it's in the top 5 greatest movies of all time. I mean, honestly, The Godfather still remains my number 1. If I was to say my opinion, Shawshank's number 2. Shawshank Redemption. Number 3. That's a good question. Honestly, I would say the third Lord of the Rings movie, Return of the King. I gotta say, that one's probably that one. Pulp Fiction is phenomenal. So that one would definitely be my number 4. My number 5 would probably be The Dark Knight because of how great it is. You know what? No. Godfather 2. It may be so freaking long, but it's gotta be my number 5. And now that I think about it, Schindler's List is a huge movie in history, so that one would probably be number 6. And number 7 would definitely be The Dark Knight, though. It's definitely in the top 10. The Dark Knight's definitely there. And then it would probably be the first Lord of the Rings movie, and then Fight Club, then some movies like Matrix, Inception, Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, stuff like that. Surprisingly, Jaws is a great movie, but it would not be in the top 10. Not be in the top 20 either. I would see Die Hard before Jaws on the list. Jaws is my 4th favorite movie of all time. And I know how great of a movie it is. But due to all the lists I've seen, Jaws is not in any of the tops. It's not even in the top 30. I hate to say that because it's such a great film and I love that movie with all my heart. But it's sad to say that the Lord of the Rings is hot. Why is that sad to say? Lord of the Rings is fucking amazing. But either way, Jaws, it's sad to say that it's pretty damn low on the list. And Lord of the Rings is high and mighty. It's probably the greatest movie franchise of all time. Because it's one franchise that has all of the movies being good. The Godfather, on the other hand, the first 2 are good. The third one fucking sucks. I cannot stand the third one. I couldn't even watch the movie. I gotta say, Godfather 3 is unwatchable. Unwatchable. Believe me on that. It's unwatchable. Don't ever watch the third one. Never watch the third Godfather movie. It sucks. I don't know about the Coda version, though. The Coda version might be better. I think it's just the ending. No, there's no way. It's like 2 hours and 50 minutes with the theatrical cut. It's probably like, I'm pretty sure it's like 2 hours and 30-something minutes with the Coda version. But either way, I heard the Coda version's better, though. So, if anything, watch the Coda version. Don't watch the third one. Just watch the Coda. I'm pretty sure there's like 3 versions of Godfather 3. There's like 3 versions of that movie, man. I hope they bring back the Lord of the Rings again this year. Because I saw the first one last year. I want to see the second and the third one in theaters. That's all I gotta say. The best in theaters, man. The best in theaters. Although I saw the extended version of the first one last year in theaters. And it went on for 4 hours and it was late at night and an hour drive away. So you know all the trauma that I had to go through. But my dad had to go through a lot more trauma because he was the driver. I'm just saying, it was a long drive. Tiring. Tiring to just sit there, go to see the movie. I'm used to the movie being two parts. If there was an intermission, I wouldn't care. Alright, I would go to the bathroom, pretty much stretch my back here, which I need stretching right now. Ow. Either way, you get the point. Lord of the Rings, fucking amazing. Alright, Two Towers is good. Watch the movies if you get the chance. Either way, I think I'm gonna end the video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notified from latest videos. Bye.